Hi, I'm Carolyn, and that's Anna, and we're two sisters who love handcrafting and figuring things out. Welcome everybody. This is episode 7 of the Curious Crafters. Today is August 3rd, 2022. And for this episode, Anna and I are going to be doing something very different. We've been apart for the whole month of July, and to try to keep in touch with each other and what we've been doing with our crafting, we sent each other video posts. We're calling them video postcards. So for this episode, you'll see our video postcards that we sent back and forth to each other throughout the month of July, and then we'll end with our thumbs up segment. As always, in the description box, you can find, we're all set up with our chapters. So in fact, you don't even need to go to the description box. You can scroll through to get the different postcards, or if you want to go directly to the thumbs up. We hope you're having a peaceful and restful summer wherever you are, and that you're able to do a lot of crafting. So here we go with our postcards. Enjoy. Hey, Anna. I can't believe it's been over a week since I've seen you, and we've made it across country. I'm sitting here in the backyard in the Hudson Valley of New York, in Beacon, New York. I'm at my son's house with his family. I just gotta tell you, driving across country, Anna, it's just so amazing. The scenery, it just always changes like every 100 miles, and you see all kinds of new things. And I found myself on this trip, I can't believe it, as I was looking at colors of the scenery, I kept going, that reminds me of like the overdyed color, like dirt road, and I kept thinking of the different like flosses that I was stitching with as I was comparing the scenery. So I thought I'd show you a quick example. Here's a photo of a place we stopped in Wyoming, and really the West, it gets so little water. The greens just reminded me sort of blackbird greens that they use, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this reminds me so much of Palomino. So I could see this green, maybe a little oilcloth thrown in there. And then there are hints of a little bit more greeny green, like an Oscar. So I started to look at my environment and think about my cross stitch floss. It was so funny. And in this photo too, you can see there's a sort of a red barn. So I'm like, maybe a little campfire would look good with that. And you know, those clouds, are they like grits or are they more white? And then I'm like, wow, finding the right blue for the sky is so hard. And one thing I noticed as we went across country is the blue of the sky changes. And when you think about, we have such a vibrant California blue, but then as you move across the country and more moisture gets in the air, you end up with a lighter blue. So I thought, thinking, oh, wouldn't it be kind of fun to find the different blues for the different skies? So it just had me thinking about how fun it would be to think about these little sub palettes of color as you move across country. So that was something that kind of kept my mind occupied as I was looking at the beautiful scenery. I hope you appreciate that, Anna, but it was really fun for me. So we took about 7 days to cross the country, and what we did this time is we actually took a 2-night stop about halfway through in Iowa. And I'd heard so much about Amana, Iowa from people that go to a cross stitch retreat there. I'm like, let's just stop there. So we ended up camping at a farm. There's a farm about 20 minutes away, and they just let us pull our van up into their farm. It was really great. They had a little outside bathroom that we could use. It was beautiful. And then we spent, actually it was the 4th of July, exploring Amana. And one of the things I did in Amana was I went to the Heritage Designs quilt and needlework shop. And we had that morning a huge thunderstorm, which is super, super exciting for us Californians with this downpour of rain. So we actually sat in an outdoor covered cafe and just really enjoyed the thunder and lightning and the rain. And then as it let up a little bit, I went over to the needlework and quilt shop. And oh my gosh, if you're a quilter, there's so much fabric. It just, I was like, oh, I wish I had a quilt to make. But one thing I did get is I picked a couple fabrics to make a project bag. And I couldn't resist this fabric because it reminded me so much of the forest that I just finished by Satsuma Street. So I thought that would be a really fun project bag, and I kind of wish, I wish I had that when I was stitching Satsuma Street. And then I just got a good vibrant turquoise that matches, that will be my liner. So that's one thing I bought at the store. The woman that worked there was, who particularly specialized in the cross stitch area, she was so friendly and kind, and she had stitched so many samples there. So I really, of course, was drawn by the samples, and really what I got there, besides that fabric for the fabric bags, is a variety of patterns, and most of the patterns were things that she had samples for. So let me show you one of them. She also really likes Satsuma Street. So this is called Folk Flowers, and she had this stitched up. And so I bought her, her one that also included the chalkboard linen that she stitched on. And just really like that. And it's interesting is it's a 28 count linen, but she said it's worth doing it on the like sort of a bigger count thread because of the size that you get. And I really like that finished size, so I decided to go with the 28 count and try that. And I'm gonna stitch it 2 strands over 2 threads. So that was one of my purchases. Let me know if you want to see the other patterns now, and I can show you some more. Otherwise I can show you when I get home. Then the last thing that I got in Amana as a little souvenir is the Amana colonies. It started off as a co-op where a group of people came from Germany, and they were first in upstate New York, and then they traveled to Iowa when they needed more space, but they were a total cooperative and self-supporting. So what this means, in addition to farmers, they had people that were running like a weaving mill, a furniture store, you know, the doctor, all of that. And their weaving mill is still in production. Unfortunately, it was closed on 4th of July because you can actually walk through it and watch them weaving on the loom. So of course, that just got my imagination. So I just bought myself a little woven pouch. So this is woven on their looms. And once you touch it, like hand woven fabric just has a different feel to it. And I decided to keep my cross stitch goodies in here. I was just keeping them in a basket, so it's a nice open pouch. And then I like to collect commemorative pins as I go places. Like, for example, we stopped at the Indiana Dunes National Park on the way over. So I decided for this bag, I would just put some of my pins I collected on it as a souvenir bag for that trip across country. So those are some of the things I've bought or purchased along the way. You know, it's funny, Anna, when I'm traveling, I always have these big ideas that I'm gonna have so much time to craft, but I find just between, you know, when you're in the car, maybe I'll do a little knitting, but you're just either driving or just watching the scenery or navigating. And then in the evening, a lot of the time's just spent, which is fun time, but you're sort of setting up your camp and cooking and doing your dishes and just kind of those basic chores just take a little bit more time in a really enjoyable way. So I found I really haven't crafted that much. The thing I've mainly been working on is a pair of toe-up socks. So there's this farm, this woman, Joanna, she works at Knit Spin Farm, and she makes self-striping yarns, and they have the funniest colorways. This one's just called Hey Girl, H-A-Y, Hey Girl. And it is, the yarn is purple and green self-striping. And I'm knitting a toe-up sock, which means you start at the toe and work down to your cuff. So here's my toe. I actually I call it an asymmetrical toe, because if you look at your foot, like look at your foot right now, it's not a symmetrical toe. So here would be my big toe, and then my toes down to my pinky. So I do a slightly different shaping for that. I did something, if you thought about your foot, it's really interesting. You've got your foot and your ankle, and you somehow have to take knitting and make it turn a right angle. And that's what the whole heel is for. If you're a sock knitter, you know what I mean. So I did something called a gusset heel that turns the corner and goes, let me see if I can show this better, from your foot and turns that right angle to the top of your leg. And then I added a little ribbing for some stretch at the top. So here's that yarn, and the yarn is doing all the striping for me. So sock knitting, it's fun once you get going. I can do it in the car while I'm not driving, and I can still be kind of looking around as I'm knitting. So I've been working, I finished my first sock, and I'll be casting on the second sock. The other cross stitch piece I've been working on is I've been working on Seasons of the Heart, the summer. I was working on that right before I left. And I'm finding, especially on the road, having a smaller piece, it's just easier to pull it out in the evening and stitch. And my headlight's been working great. I've totally been using my headlight. So here is my progress on that. I'm getting a little reflection. I know the colors aren't great outside. I finished the house except for the doorknob, and I'm coming around and finishing this border and the motifs in there. So it's been the perfect size for traveling when I'm on the road. We're here now in Beacon for about 3 weeks, so I'll be doing more stitching in-house. But again, I'm going to be playing a lot with my granddaughter, so we'll see how much stitching I get done. We're also going to do a couple side trips. We'll go up to the Finger Lakes, and then we're going to go up to Acadia National Park while we're here. So Anna, I really miss just kind of seeing you on a daily basis and catching up with your cross stitch. It's funny, I've been watching, I follow on our Instagram, and you know, typically I'll see those things in person, and sometimes you'll post something on Instagram, I'm like, oh Anna, that looks so good. I feel like I want to comment right back at you. So I'd love to hear what you're up to. Make me a video, and let's see. All right, hope you're having a great summer. Bye, Anna.
Hey girl. I couldn't resist saying that after hearing the name of, what was it, the yarn brand or the yarn color that you're using for your socks. Hi Carolyn, I miss you. It's really interesting because I already was aware of how much we chit chat about cross stitch and other things, but my awareness has really been heightened since you've been gone. So I really enjoyed receiving your video. It was like a postcard. I'm a little bit jealous about the thunderstorm. So fabulous. And it was so fun to see what you chose at the store. And by the way, please show me all your patterns. I don't think I can wait a few more weeks to see them. And that fabric, oh my goodness, I thought Satsuma Street right away when I saw it. Anyway, and the woven bag, oh, I want to touch it. I want to touch it. That just looks so beautiful. Handmade things are just beautiful, aren't they? One thing I thought of when you were showing your Seasons of the Heart is, I got my own, because you and I are both excited about using Katie Strachan's color conversion for winter, and I'll continue to keep my eyes out for that because I know when you're traveling it might be a little bit hard to look for something like that. So I'll look for both of us, and now we both have the chart, and I'm excited about that. I found it so interesting the way you described the colors and the way you were thinking about floss. And I do that sometimes when I'm hiking, but I usually think in terms of fabric. Like I think, oh, I want to try to remember, or I try to photograph the color combinations in the hills. And then next time I'm choosing fabric for a quilt or something, to try to have that sort of help me learn more about color and the way colors go together. So I really, now I'm gonna have to think about floss a little bit. And what was one thing I wanted to say about floss? Is this, have you seen, it's at least one sampler where the grass is like 6 different shades of green or green blue, and they're sort of like in pebble shapes, these sort of organic shapes. When you were describing all the variations of the blues of the sky, it made me think of the grass in those samplers. So I'm gonna keep an eye on those samplers. I might have to try one of those. Okay, I've just been up to a lot of everyday things, which I just enjoy the pace of the summer so much, just that slower pace. And I might give myself a little job to do each day, like you must wash the kitchen floor. And then the rest of the day is mine to decide wherever the wind blows me, so to speak. We saw my son and his wife for dinner about a week ago, and his wife took home the flat fold, the little A Merry Christmas sampler flat fold. And we were joking because as I make things and I offer them to those two or to anyone else, we thought we have to have sort of like a pat answer if she wishes to decline, like, I'd prefer to enjoy that piece in someone else's home or something, because I just don't want her to feel any pressure to say yes to anything. So I brought out a few things for her to choose from, and she says she wants to put that flat fold on their mantle for the holidays coming up. Or they're not coming up, but you know what I mean. Next Christmas, next Christmas. All right, project bags. I have been into project bags. Let me show you a few. Here's one. Here's another. No contrast on this. I just thought the fabric was so pretty. Same fabric on the inside. And then here's trying a little contrasting zipper. This is one in progress. I'm finding that I'm really liking cutting a few fabrics or for a few bags, or I have a stack of the fusible interfacing all set to go, cut in the right sizes, pinned together, the 3 pieces we need for each bag. I'm still using Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch's project bag tutorial, so thank you, Liz. And I'm just loving just sort of keeping them out. And I might put the zipper in one for part of the day, and then I might sew a couple of seams in another part of the day. I'm just sort of doing in bits and spurts, and it's great fun. I did want to share that until I started making bags, I was using some Marie Kondo bags from the Container Store. This is the accessory size, and this is the letter size. And I just thought the colors of the zippers were pretty. They're just basic, and they do have that sort of funky, plasticky feel. So I don't know if anyone's sensitive to that, you might not like them, but I am still enjoying these until I make enough fabric bags. I'm also still into corners. I'm using that diagonal stitching line and just trying to get it just right. I'm not exactly trying to get a pointed corner. I'm just trying to figure out a way where my corners are sort of a pleasing shape and consistent, so that I know every time I turn out all 4, they're going to look similar. I don't know why I'm so into it, but I'm really, really enjoying it. And in fact, I wanted to make my granddaughter, baby E, whose birthday is coming up, some little bean bags. Oh my gosh, how cute. I still need to sew them up. What I did was I got the sizes of those, you know, those wood blocks that are in every preschool, unit blocks. I did those sizes for these 2 little ones. And so I've practiced a lot of corners on these. And I'm starting to feel like I've found sort of like the Anna corner, just sort of what my corners end up being with this technique that I'm using. And I'm liking it, and I'm feeling like they're starting to be consistent. I'm also having fun with putting some few simple charms on the zippers. When we were at a needle in a haystack, I don't know if you noticed, one of the things I got was this little charm pack from the French Kitchen. It just has some fruits. I have the strawberry and the apple left. I've been having fun putting those on zippers. And I was also thinking, like, what do I have around the house that I could throw onto a zipper? So one thing I remembered is I have some things in my jewelry box. Here's this little box from Allentown where our mother grew up, and she gave these to me years ago. There are 2 silver charms that are related to sports. One of them is clearly a softball or a baseball, and it says the word champions on it. The other one, we really just can't even figure out what it is. It looks kind of like a volleyball, but I don't think there was volleyball back then. In fact, there was no girls' sports back then. It blows my mind how much things have changed. But Mom did say that she played intramural, so she doesn't know. She was a cheerleader, so is this a baseball? But they didn't cheer for baseball. She said they only cheered for football and for basketball. Is this a football? But the jeweler only had spheres. Who knows? Anyway, I'm gonna put one of these on a project bag, and I'd love for you to choose one too. And Mom is going to, it's sort of a mystery. She's racking her brain, and one of her good friends who is the best female athlete in her class, in her words, she's still in touch with her, so she might contact that person and try to figure out what these represent exactly. Anyway, I thought they've been sitting just untouched for years and years and years, and I thought it would be fun to put them on a project bag. All right, what else? Handtuch sampler. I think you've already seen this on Instagram, but I finished it, and I fully finished it. So I've been wanting a little mat on the table next to where I stitch, because it sounds so silly, but every time I put down my scissors, it makes a clacking sound. And so I wanted sort of a soft landing. And one of my girlfriends had made me, she called this a mug rug. And I use this a lot to put my phone down. I don't have a case on my phone, so I like to put my phone on this, and it helps me find my phone. And anyway, I've enjoyed this so much, so I think this kind of gave me the idea of how to finish this. And here is the pattern. It's the Handtuch Sampler by Threadwork Primitives, and I did it on 36 count Zweigart Platinum with called for threads. In fact, speaking of the threads, I'll save these for our shared stash. You never know when you need like 2 strands of Oscar. I have just a few left. Anyway, this was great fun. Again, working on my corners, working on how to get the edge of the stitching equidistant from the edge. I think next time I might try something, where did I put that? Like a pulled thread. Ah, it blew away. Excuse me a second. Like I was stitching, I think like a 1/2 inch out or something, maybe 1 inch out. Pull a thread so that when I'm stitching, I can try to keep the stitching line equidistant from that. So I'm interested in exploring some ways to do that as I'm finishing. For some reason, I wanted something just bright on the background, even though these colors are super grayed and mellow. So this is what I chose. And yay, I ended up getting another colorway too because I wasn't sure which one I was going to use. And I think these just need to become a project bag. I'm into project bags. I find them really satisfying to make. I might say that a few more times before I say goodbye. One other thing I was thinking about is I did put some shape flex on the back of this. I felt like I was going to use it so hard that iron-on interfacing might help keep the stitches true. But I did feel like when I ironed it on, it might have smushed the loft of the stitches a little bit. So I don't know how to get interface ironed on without doing that. I think I had a towel on underneath. Maybe it's my imagination. Anyway, those are the things I'm still thinking about, and I'm having fun using this. Makes me happy as I stitch. The last thing I want to just talk about was our Schools Out stitch along. I'm realizing we really did a start along, not a stitch along. I just heard that phrase on another FlossTube a couple of days because we're all stitching different things. But I wanted to give a shout out to a few people, one of whom is Kathy at Gutsman Kathy on Instagram. She's doing Sir Dandy by Hands to Work, and she has done some of the alphabets and the borders at the top, and she's doing it 1/1. Woo! So pretty so far. And Jody at Jody's Stitching Adventure, she's doing Tiger Tiger by Blue Flower, and she's working mostly on the border, and there's actually poetry in the border. So go take a look at those. It's so fun to have a few folks joining us on our stitch along. I know I've showed this already a few times. I'm just going to continue to show it. I'm working on the Red Deer Sampler by GGR, and I really haven't stitched much, but I don't think I've showed this already. This was one of the colors that was missing. I couldn't find anywhere, and so I picked something that I thought was going to be similar. So I think that's working okay. We will see. But this is where I am. All right. Keep enjoying your travels, Carolyn, and I can't wait for my next postcard from you. It's a really fun way to keep in touch. Bye.
Hey, good morning, Anna. It's a beautiful sunny day. We're right now in the southwest tip of Maine, heading up to Acadia National Park. I'm in a beautiful pine forest right now. I noticed one thing about our video postcards. Sometimes it's hard to get a good background and good light, so we're just going to go with what we have right now. On the other side of our campsite, super sunny, so I'm kind of behind our van right now where there's a little bit of shade. So fun to get your last postcard and to see what you're up to. I'm so glad your daughter-in-law loved the flat fold. What a great person for it to go to. And it's kind of fun to just give things to people who like them the best. So I love your idea of just kind of showing her a variety of things you made and say, hey, do you want any of them? And she can say, no, thank you. And I think she's honest enough person to do that. Or she'd be like, oh, that flat fold is what I really want. So that's a really fun way for her to have something special from you. So super fun. A few little updates since I last saw you is we've been with, Kay's family, my son's family, our younger son's family in the Hudson Valley of New York. Been so much fun with the granddaughters. Our toddler M just turned 2. And our little baby Jay is 3 months, and she's just all sort of smiles, and it's been fun to try to hold her a little bit. had a little less time with her. You know, that's such an intense time with mom at that age. But our toddler, we have had so much fun with her. She just is go, 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 go. And as you know, any toddler, we call it the loop. Like whatever she does it like over and over and over again. I gave her a little flashlight, and we spent a lot of time in their sort of dark little garage, just shining that flashlight on a variety of things. So we can spend a good half an hour in there shining the flashlight. So really, really fun to get to know her. We have another tradition. After her nap, we come out to Teensy, the van, and she has a little snack in there. And then we do some sort of food gathering game that also can go for a while. She goes out and gets food, she comes back in, she does something with it. So anyway, really, really fun with her. You know, the other thing I was thinking about your last video, I love how you finished your hand toque sampler, like making it like a little mat. So you are being so inspiring with your finishing. When I get back, I really want to get that sewing machine out. I don't know why I'm kind of intimidated to somehow sew on the cross stitch linen, but I just got to get over it. I think your idea of pulling a thread to help give you a line, or I was even thinking about doing a little basting stitch along there, but probably the pull thread's an easier idea. So you got to, when I get home, you got to be like, come on, Carolyn girl, get that sewing machine out and let's get going on doing some finishing. So let's see, I have a few things I wanted to show you. Oh, one more little update. Last week we took this great side trip to the Finger Lakes. We were gone for about 3 days, and we went to Gigantic State Park, which is about only 8 miles north of Ithaca on one of the Finger Lakes, and our campsite was beautiful. We're in the woods. We're kind of up probably about 200 feet above the lake, and there are all these hiking trails that went off the campsite. Really great car camping, you know, so very sort of low, no big RVs or anything were in there. It was more tent camping and smaller vans. And we did some great hikes to this beautiful waterfall. We spent some time around the lake. So if anybody's in the New York area, that's a beautiful state park and camping grounds if you're interested. All right, so what have I been up to? Again, you know, you think you're gonna have all this vacation stitching time, but I found I have a little bit less than I do at home, but still, of course, I'm crafting and stitching every day. So first thing is I have a finish, and my finish is my Seasons of the Heart Summer. I'm really enjoying the season, and Anna, thank you so much for taking the lead on ordering our Katie Strachan silk kits to do winter. So I know we have ours on pre-order, which is going to be perfect timing, so we'll probably get our kits when we get back, and that's going to be fun to stitch it. And she finishes the pillow with a bead edging, so I'm really excited to try that bead edging. So I'm thinking, like, this is a mathematician in me, do I have to do them in order? Should I stitch fall before winter, or can we just stitch winter once we get the kits? I know I'm going to want to start winter right away. So let me show you my finish on this. Because of the light, let me see if this comes up. Here is Summer. This is stitched on Needle and Flax's Thornfield. Again, we've talked about how much I love this color of linen. And I've used all the called for overdyes and DMC flosses. And like my spring, I elected not to put the season tag in there, but to instead, she just has it all set up that you can just extend the border all the way around. I think you mentioned this before, how much you liked the waving flag, and I think that is very effective. So that's Summer. Really happy with that. It's been a great travel stitch because it's so small and compact. It's easy to pull out and work on. I don't feel like it's a big thing to pull out. All right, so that's Summer. Let's see what I've been working on. I've continued to do a lot of knitting. That seems to be a great thing, particularly when I'm the navigator in the car, I'm not driving, because I can knit and look out the window at the same time. So I'm continuing to work on my green and purple socks. This is my second sock. And again, it's just my own design. I like an asymmetrical toe. So here would be where my pinky toe is and my big toe. Here's the heel. Turning the heel is always really fun. And I'm working up the leg of the sock. So I probably only have about 3 more inches to go. And again, this yarn color is called Hey. Well, I think it was Hey Girl. No, that's what you said on your last video. What's the name of it? It's called, oh no, it is called Hey Girl, H-A-Y. And it's by Knit Spin Farm. This is just a one-woman show, and she periodically dyes these self-striping yarns, and she sets it up. The way she dyes it is she sets it up in her porch, and she just I think, dyes all of this and then sells it to people. So very small knit spin farm. So if you like self-striping yarn, she does a really fun job with that. As you know, knitters like project bags. Oh, speaking of project bags, Anna, you are on a project bag roll. I like that idea of adding charms to it. And I was even thinking, like in my jewelry box, I know I have a few earrings where I've lost one of them, and I kind of like earrings that are dangling. So I thought when I get home, I'm gonna go look at what are my single earrings I have, because those might make really nice zipper pulls. And I like your idea of kind of having a assembly line set up where you have things cut out and ready to go. So I have that fabric I showed you last time with the trees that reminds me of that forest, Satsuma Street. So I'm gonna make a project bag for that when I come out. Boy, I'm kind of all over the place here. Knitters love project bags too. This is the one I have my my sock knitting in. Great one. This is from a company in Santa Cruz. They're called Ribbon Street, and she really does beautiful high-end, not well high-end bags, but really nice fabric, very sturdy bags with excellent zippers on them. So that's what I've been knitting on. When I'm finished with that, I'm gonna start working on Baby J's blanket. And on Instagram, I had posted some of the yarn I got. This has been, you know, just finding the right yarn for her has a bit of a challenge. I think I nailed it. So Joan had recommended this company called, let's see, it's called O-Wool, and they do, she custom dyes yarn, and this is called Rosy Green Wool. I think that was her base. And for example, here is one of them. And this is an organic yarn and dyed. So I think this is a really nice, they wanted a periwinkle blue, and I think this is a good one. And then I got a whole series. So here's a dark. I only brought a few with me on this trip. The rest are at their house. So I'm gonna start thinking about what design I wanna do for the blanket. I have a few ideas and start swatching for that. So that's something we're here away, as I said, heading up to Acadia Park. So we're on the road again for about 4 days. So maybe do a little swatching for that. So that's where I am on my knitting. Oh, today too on our drive, we're gonna stop at in Portland, Maine, which is really known for their fiber community. And I have a knit store that I'm gonna go and check out, that crafting store, the knit store. Okay, what else? Let's see. Okay, my works in progress. As I showed on Instagram, I've started Satsuma Street Autumn Bird. So here's the pattern. Satsuma Street. And when I went to get the DMCs for this, I realized they're almost identical DMCs to Forest. And I'll put a, if you remember Forest, and I'll put a picture of it here too for those that don't. And it's funny, when I went to pick these two patterns off the internet, it's funny that I ordered two patterns that were essentially used the same color. So I think these might be really nice companion pieces. So again, autumn. And I was so excited. I started here across the leaves and the branch, and then getting to that bird was super exciting. So here is my progress on that. My thread. Well, you have to just look at my needle. So I've put in the entire branch. I've got those leaves going, and you can see that pink bird just starting to come on the top of the branch. I'm using the same linen as I used for Forest, which was a mystery linen, but I think we've solved the mystery, and it's 32 count exemplar by Lakeside, and all the called for DMCs for that. This is also a great travel. The 32, wonderful. I can see it no problem, even with my headlight's been working really great. And my headlight, I can see it even at night if we're outside and it's dark, I can still stitch with that. And having these big chunks of color, there's not a lot of color changes. A little bit wrinkly, but that's what happens when you travel. So that's my current really whip that I'm working a lot on with cross stitch and enjoying that a lot. Okay. Oh, right. And then last thing, I'd mentioned when I'd gone to Amana, Iowa to Heritage Designs there and picked a variety of patterns. So I'm just going to give you a little pattern preview of these, and we'll put these in our shared stash. All right, the first one is called Cluck Cluck Farm, and it's from Artful Offerings. Artful Offerings is the company that I did the Songbird sampler for you. And I don't know, there was just something about that chicken and her little chicks. And I love the graphic black and white on that with a little pop of color. So that's Cluck Cluck Farm. The next one I got, I must have been also in a holiday theme. Heritage Design had so many nice samplings. The woman that's, she must be responsible for the cross stitch area. She was really nice and she had done a lot of samples. So they had this little Christmas stocking all finished. It's called Tulip Basket Ornament by Abby Rose Designs. And she had finished it slightly differently. So I took a photo of her finished stocking and we'll do that. So that's a little holiday stitch. I know a lot of people have talked about the blue flower, so I decided I wanted to try one of her patterns, and this is called Holiday Card 2021, designed by Janine McGowan, who must be the blue flower. Something about that llama, and I like the option that you can just do the single llama or a llama with a little tree. So that might be kind of fun to stitch for the GGs, the grand girls. So that's that one. Then she, at Heritage Design, was a big Satsuma Street lover, and they had a lot of the patterns, hard patterns, and great samples. So I got a few more. I showed you this one before, the Folk Flowers, and it's this long one. And then I showed you that I also bought came with the linen, but you had the option, it's kind of hidden by the linen, but each of these motifs can be stitched as a standalone piece as well. So I remembered in your last postcard, Anna, you thought, oh, it might be kind of fun to do that, but maybe just do like single motifs for that. So that's an option. And then again, it must have been in the holiday spirit because another Satsuma Street, these is called her Christmas Baubles, and they're all individual. I like that idea of making a little banner, whether I do that or you could just stitch them individually. And then she has, this is called Joy. And I thought that was could be a nice little banner as well. I think I'm really drawn to, her name's Jody Rice, the designer. I'm drawn to her bright colors and to her very graphic design. All right, the last thing, Anna, that I got is the woman again at Heritage Designs. She had taken some of the Satsuma Street designs. In fact, I think she took these baubles. I think it was this pattern, or it might have been a different one. And she stitched it on this perforated paper. And you use 3 strands of DMC on this, and then what you do is you cut it around it and you just leave one little edge of the perforated paper to finish it. And with the bright colors of DMC against this white, boom, it just looked so good. So I got a little bit of this. I might experiment with doing one of the small baubles, whether it's one of these or one of the Folk Flowers, and doing it on that perforated paper and seeing how it is. All right, so that's what I've been up to stitching wise. Again, spending so much time just with my son's family and the grand girls, and exploring and camping and being out here. Maine is like a new experience, and we're really excited. We'll drive up and we'll spend a little bit this afternoon in Acadia National Park, but then we have all day tomorrow. And then coming back, we'll stop in the White Mountains of New Hampshire and then head back to the Hudson Valley for about another, 5 days with their family. So it's been kind of fun. We're visiting with them, breaking it up with doing some side trips here in New England. All right, Anna, so I hope all is well with you. Oh, one more thing before I say goodbye. Anna's Corners, I love it. When we get back, let's work together just to do a very, very small video tutorial where you, and we can film it like kind of looking down at your hands, where you can kind of walk through how you got your corners going for anybody else that's interested. Anna, okay, I hope you're having a great summer. I know you're about to start traveling, and thank you again for getting those Katie Strachan silk kits for us. I can't wait to stitch that, and I can't wait to see you. All right, until next time, bye, Anna.
Hello, Queen of the Asymmetrical Toe. I enjoyed your video. Thank you, or your postcard, I should say. Thanks for giving us all an update on your travels and showing us your progress and your new charts. I enjoyed it all. And I think you have totally nailed it on the colors for Baby J's blanket. And I really, it was great to see your finish on your summer Seasons of the Heart, and you've put a close-up of those waving flags on Instagram. The borders on those too, and the way there's a little bit of change, it's not all the same border. Can't wait to stitch winter. And the insect noise behind you, it was like a symphony. It's another thing I miss. So thunderstorms and insect noise. Anyway, it's great to see you. July has been full of doing all kinds of things with my girlfriends. A couple of my girlfriends and I went up to the Presidio, and there's a new park that has opened, and when we were there, it was 2 days before it opened. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called Tunnel Tops, and it actually connects the parade field of the Presidio with Chrissy Field. So there's a park in between them now. The visitor center was open when we were there, and they have just done a fabulous job. So like in the playground of Tunnel Tops, there's this felled tree from somewhere else that has been chopped into several segments, and kids can crawl through the interior of the tree, the huge tree trunk. All kinds of just beautiful ideas like that. And of course we had Mom's birthday, and she had her classic Baskin-Robbins mint chip ice cream. It was actually really kind of chilly the night of her birthday, so we ended up inside. After our mint chip ice cream, we were inside sipping some mint tea. It was great to celebrate her. All right, let me show you a little bit about what I've been up to. Really, two of my two biggest projects are the things I've been kind of chipping away at this month. The first is Fruit of Plenty. I've been able to reconnect with that a little bit, modern folk embroidery. And my idea was to try to get close to where you are with yours. So then in the fall, if we decide to do some sections together, maybe say like, let's try to do this diagonal this week, or whatever we decide, we'll be in about the same spot. So let me hold it up. This is on 32 count Zweigart charcoal. And I've done, well, you know, it was pretty much a stripe, a horizontal stripe. So I've done some of these diagonals, the diagonals that include, I need you, Carolyn, to hold this. I've done this section here, and I've brought this section down a little bit. I believe your birds are done, so I'm gonna try to finish these birds here in this diagonal next. But I'm so happy I was able to reconnect with it. I decided, I think I might have mentioned it on the Fruit of Plenty video, that I was just, when we were watching the Giants game, I was just going to, I don't know, do a few threads while I was watching baseball. And that really worked for me. I feel reconnected to it. My other big project, of course, is our Start Along. What I picked for our Start Along, the GGR, the Red Deer Sampler. And I'm doing mine on 32 count Confederate Gray with called for colors. And really, I have been in this corner all summer working on this big vase at the top right corner. And I'm filling in the vase or the basket or I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm getting close and just loving it. It's taken a really, really long time. And sometimes that kind of messes with my head. Like, this is going to take forever. When am I ever going to finish this? And then I'm like, no, stop. Just enjoy it and keep stitching. So that's what I'm doing. I think, again, we mentioned maybe on a previous video that Joan mentioned that she took all of her Fruit of Plenty charts and taped them together, which is something I do a lot in the sewing world, because sometimes if you print a pattern on your printer, then you tape all the pieces together to make the pieces you need to make your dress or whatever you're making. So I have taped together Fruit of Plenty and taped together all the pieces of the Red Deer Sampler, and I just love it. It's this huge piece of paper, but I'm folding it in to whatever I'm working on. And for example, this is the Red Deer Sampler. It's huge. It's just this huge piece of paper, but the way I've been folding it has been working for me. And it's fun for me to see how it all connects instead of just having out individual pages. So Carolyn, if you want me to tape together a huge chart for you for your Fruit of Plenty, I will be happy to do that. You just let me know. The other thing I've been working on is actually a sewing project. And I think I held up this pattern before. The brand is Ikati, and this is the Madrid. And I made this little bubble jumpsuit right here with the front closing. I need to put the snaps in still, so I have some pins in it, but this is for baby E, and it'll have snaps here and snaps here, like the diaper closure, and it has elastic in the legs. And I can just see her crawling around in this. It's hard to imagine she's this big already. And Carolyn, I had a big laugh because this reminded me of the time I put a smocked garment that I had made for Jay at the Marin County Fair. And the way it was displayed was not on a hanger or anything. They just sort of stuffed it with, I don't know what it was stuffed with, and was sort of sitting on a pedestal, and it looked like a stuffed pumpkin or something, and we had a big laugh over that. So we're gonna have to have a little child in this to fully appreciate this garment. But it was really fun for me. I hadn't sewn a garment in a while, and just like we've talked about how we both like the thinking of cross stitch, where sometimes it's a little bit just rhythmic, and sometimes we enjoy that thinking of like, I've got to go up 3 and then diagonal 4 or whatever. Following a sewing pattern does a similar thing for my brain. It's a little bit of a spatial thing where sometimes a step in a sewing pattern is, my huge pattern is blowing. Sometimes a step in a sewing pattern is easy for me because I've done that same kind of thing in other garments, and sometimes, each pattern maker has kind of their own way to do a placket or something like that. And this particular brand, IKT, had some really, really neat ways to finish parts of this garment. So I had to really think and kind of fold things over and say, is that right? And that, I enjoyed that. And I will enjoy seeing this on Baby E because I'm gonna see her soon. So I am about to leave for my Virginia adventure to see so many members of our extended family and so many of my friends who live in the Washington, D.C. area. And I'll have to find my own little repetitive things like you have with Toddler M with the flashlight or snacks or whatever. I think Baby E is enjoying putting things into things and dumping them out, and putting things into things and dumping them out. So I think I'll be doing a lot of that with her, which I am really looking forward to. And what else? I think I'm gonna leave my biggies at home, and I'm gonna work on some smallies while I'm traveling. And I pulled the trigger and I decided to get a portable cordless magnifier light. So I had it sent to MK and B's house, and so I haven't met it yet, and we'll see how that works for me, because I really just couldn't imagine not cross stitching, and I really think I need a magnifier light for it to be comfortable for me to cross stitch. So when we do see each other again in person, we are totally getting out that sewing machine. And I'll probably have a few finished smalls from my weeks away, and you have your Seasons of the Heart, and we will stuff them with things. I don't know, maybe we'll try wool roving along with our walnut shells and see what the difference is. Who knows? Who knows what we'll do? Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Bye, Carolyn.
Great. Time for my thumbs up. All right, my 3 thumbs up are all related to traveling. Again, we've been traveling for about 6-7 weeks this summer. In fact, right now I'm in our van filming this episode, so our van's really quite small. So they're all related to travel, my thumbs up. My first thing is I have something, and I call it my fun basket. And this fun basket can just slip between the bucket seats in our van, but it just has all of the things I need. It has my cross stitch, the book I'm reading, my journal, I have some knitting, my purse, baskets of doodads, I have my headlamp in there. So really everything I need, and whenever we get to a campsite, I can just bring this out with me, and I have all my fun with me ready to go. Or if we're staying at my son's house again, I bring my fun basket, and I just have all my good things with me. So fun basket, can't do without that. Sometimes, let me tell you, my husband tries to slip his own things in my fun basket. I'm like, dude, you need your own fun basket. That's my fun basket. All right, thing number 2 for thumbs up. I, in the summertime, live in my Chaco sandals. I don't know if anybody has worn these before either. These sandals, to me, I love because, first of all, they're ingenious. This is one piece of cording. So when you put them on, you can really control how tight or loose you want your sandals to be. Like if I'm just like flipping around, I won't even tighten it. It's kind of like having like flip-flop on. But if I'm doing some serious hiking, I can really tighten it to my foot really easily, and you just kind of learn how to pull these different things to tighten the different parts of your sandal. So again, if I'm hiking, we did a really great hike in Acadia Park where we're really hiking kind of over boulders, and I can put my sandal on really tightly. It has great tread on the bottom and good arch support. So these are really my go-to shoes when I'm out and about traveling. So that's thumbs up number 3. And finally, thumbs up number, no, that was thumbs up number 2. Thumbs up number 3 is, okay, you're gonna think this is silly, but washing dishes in a van is hard. Like you really, like the first time I traveled cross country, I really didn't have my system down. And so I've worked really hard, and I have found the best thing for my system. It feels a little big, but don't worry, it's not. It slips really nicely into my one of my cabinets here. But this is the best dish drain you ever imagine, because it folds up. It's pretty small, and I can just put it in sideways into one of my cabinets here, and then it folds out into this beautiful dish drain with handles. So what I can do is I can wash and rinse my dishes, put them in this dish drain, and then easily move it around if I have to move it to different parts of the van, or I can even move it out onto a picnic table or something. So this has changed my life as far as doing my dishes in the van. So thumbs up number 3. All right, see you all soon. Bye.
Okay, here are my thumbs up. First one, fishing piers. James and I have gone to a couple of beaches in the last couple of months, Pismo Beach, Capitola State Beach, that have these big, long fishing piers. I love the way they look from afar, and walking down them and watching people fish, and then the view you get from them when you're at the end of a pier. Very special for me. Number 2, evening stitching. I'm really realizing this summer that evening is my favorite time to stitch. I thought I would have some days this summer where I would just stitch all day. And I think I just like to move in the morning and in the afternoon and be a little bit more active. So I've done a little bit of late afternoon stitching, but mostly still it's in the evening. It's after dinner when it's starting to get dark and that cool breeze is coming in the window. And that's when I'm really enjoying stitching. And number 3 for me this time, I'm gonna say parallel parking. I've had a few times in this week when I don't do that much parallel parking. I've had a few times where I've parallel parked and like gotten into the parking place the first time without very much adjustment at all. Now let me tell you, that does not always happen for me, but it's happened to me recently. And so I'm putting parallel parking up in my thumbs up. Okay, I think we're out of stamps, or the mail carrier is on strike or something, because this is the last postcard. We've decided 4 postcards equals 1 video. Thanks for playing along with this idea with us. Well, we've been making our last couple of postcards is the time when many of you have been weighing in on our Stitch It or Ditch It projects. So thanks for all the ideas in the comments, and thanks for those of you who voted on the polls. You can still do that actually on our Instagram page, and we will give you our decisions at some point in a future video. I've made a few of my decisions, but I'm still thinking about a couple. So, alrighty, we'll see you later. Happy crafting and stay curious.